a woman gave a ride to a man in a wheelchair. The next day, a lawyer arrived with an unexpected offer. The hum of the grocery store was drowned out by the frantic beeping of the cashier's register. Sophie, a single mother of two, worked tirelessly, her hands moving in rhythm, scanning and bagging items for endless lines of customers. But that evening, her gaze faltered as she noticed an older man in a wheelchair struggling to pay for his groceries. He wore a faded military jacket, his trembling hands fumbling with loose coins. The sight tugged at Sophie's heart. "Don't worry about it," she said softly, pulling out a few bills from her own pocket to cover the difference. The man looked up, his pale blue eyes filled with gratitude. "You didn't have to do that," he murmured. "It's nothing," she said, smiling. But deep down, she knew it wasn't nothing. Money was tight, and every dollar counted. As the man wheeled himself toward the door, the store manager appeared, his face set in a stern frown. "Sophie," he barked. In the cramped manager's office, the air felt heavy. "You can't just give away money like that," he said, his voice cold. "I was helping someone in need," Sophie replied, trying to keep her voice steady. "We have rules," he snapped. "And if you can't follow them, you're out." The words hit her like a punch to the gut. Fired, just like that. Her world turned upside down. Sophie spent that night pacing her tiny apartment, her thoughts racing. Bills were piling up. Her savings had already dwindled. And now, with no job, how would she provide for her kids? The next day, she found herself at the kitchen table, staring at a job application when a knock at the door broke her concentration. She opened it to find a sharply dressed man holding a leather briefcase. "Miss Sophie Andrews?" he asked. "Yes?" "I'm Edward, an attorney representing Mr. James Carter. May I come in?" Sophie's heart skipped a beat. "The man from the store?" she asked, stepping aside. Edward nodded. "Yes. And he has a message for you." He handed her a letter. As Sophie unfolded it, her hands trembled. "Dear Sophie, yesterday your kindness reminded me that there is still good in the world. I didn't tell you this at the store, but I've been searching for someone to manage a foundation I've established to support veterans. You've shown the compassion and integrity I value. If you're interested, my lawyer will explain the details. With gratitude. James Carter." Sophie stared at the letter, her eyes filling with tears. "Is this real?" she whispered. Edward smiled. "Not only is it real, but Mr. Carter has already transferred a year's salary into an account for you as a gesture of goodwill. A second chance." The days that followed felt like a whirlwind. Sophie met with James, who explained his vision for the foundation. He shared stories of his struggles as a veteran and how he wanted to give back to those who had served their country but were now forgotten. Sophie poured her heart into the work organizing events, creating support networks, and ensuring veterans received the help they needed. With each passing day, her financial worries faded, replaced by a profound sense of purpose. One evening, as she sat at her desk reviewing grant applications, James wheeled into the room. "You've done more than I ever imagined," he said, his voice thick with emotion. Sophie smiled. "I couldn't have done it without your trust in me. A legacy of kindness." Months later, the foundation hosted its first major event, a fundraiser that brought together veterans, donors, and community leaders. As Sophie took the stage to deliver a speech, she glanced at James, who sat in the front row, his eyes shining with pride. "Sometimes," she said, her voice steady, "a small act of kindness can change the course of a life. When I helped Mr. Carter that day, I never imagined it would lead to this. But it's a reminder that even in our darkest moments, compassion can light the way." The audience erupted in applause, and Sophie felt a warmth she hadn't known in years. She had faced hardships, but through kindness and perseverance, she had found a path to a brighter future, not just for herself, but for countless others. And it all began with a simple act of giving.